till I came here.
Little Hope. It's got that one guy from that one movie. Game's pretty good. I think I was more excited before I started playing it, up until when I did start playing it. I don't know. The thing with these games, though, the subjects that they pick are so deep and familiar. In this case, it's witchcraft. Witches. Salem type stuff. Which is a very big category. I mean, they can't do everything. You'd wonder how they kind of fall in these certain particular subjects, but I don't know if they're trying to go for historical type things or... I don't know their decision making, but... Yeah, I don't know. I like that stuff. The Lords of Salem, Rob Zombie movie, Salem, Oregon. I like Oregon. But I guess we're talking, well, okay, we're talking about Massachusetts or wherever the real Salem, the actual one. But it just reminds me of Oregon. Hunting for Witches is a cool Crystal Castle song. I don't know, I think of like black magic. Pretty much anything and all witches, everything. Movies, shows. I even watched the whole Salem TV show, which was actually, I guess, kind of good. Or maybe just at the time. But I don't know. I was excited more for this one than it was Man of Medan because it's like, well, ghosts are cool, ghost ships. Bobby Frost for X-Men, whatever. I had more expectations for this game because, you know, I just felt it was a little more focused on what it is that it's exactly trying to do, which is very specifically the old colonial witch stuff. Very specific subject. It's not as broad as like, well, ghosts and ships and this and that. They really kept it focused here. Although, yeah, it was very paranormal, which is fair. Similar deal to Man of Medan in that way. Hallucinating visuals, all these, you know, similar things that kind of carried over. I don't know, the game was just disappointing. Like, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Like, I imagined, maybe I just expect too much sometimes, but... Sometimes. But you know, because you get so much, you consume so much material from all these different sources that is witchcraft type things. Pentagrams, man. Demonology. Demons, very similar subjects. Spells and rituals and sacrifices and just the whole thing. And here it's like they keep holding back and I'm kind of tired of it. It's the pattern that these games go in. That's why similar games, genres to the Dark Anthology pictures are better. The Quarry, Until Dawn, Telltales, Walking Dead. Because I hate that Dark Anthology, they really dig deep, they really go in there, they go for it. It's just not enough, man. It's like a really bad PG-13 movie. I realize they're going for something so specific, but because of the fact that these guys are the ones that are using this particular material and creating something. This is the same problem I have though with a lot of movies and games in general, is that I know things can go so much further, but they don't do it, man. It's either because of legal reasons or business decisions. I don't know. I'm like, this is really dark stuff, dude. Like, go for it, man. It's always kind of the sympathetic, apathetic, kind of goofy, relatable to anybody. They played it too safe, and I'm tired of things doing that, because like, it's the type of game that makes you want to be a developer yourself, because it's like, well, if I did this game, this is what I would do. I would make it different because of this and that, and it's just frustrating. I don't know. It was still a good game nonetheless because of the fact that it's based around what it is based on, but beyond that, it's like, it's the delivery, it's the execution. I like those big moments. I don't know if it's just all the anime I've watched, or I like those conclusions, those payoffs, the hooks, the catches, it's not even so much the twists and turns for me. Like, those are cool and all, whatever, but and it's not totally fair, because it's like, well, a lot of that was in this game, like a lot of darker turns that they could have pushed further. It's just, I don't know, it's just personal, like, nitpicky stuff, really. I mean, the game's fine, but it could be better. And I know a thing or two about, like, potential, and it's tough to say out loud sometimes, but it's like, when you know that whether it's yourself or other things around you or other people or whatever it may be, there's always, I like it when things get pushed to its limit. I really do, in a way. I'm not like pro, you know, this hardcore person, but like, I think sometimes there is going to be exceptions, and it's like every time I run into potential things like that, it's never the case. And I realized, like, hey man, if you want to go find all that deep dark shit, dude, just go on the internet, you know? That's the stuff I like though. That's the pinnacle, that's the peak of where things can go. But I think that's literally the problem for me, is like, I've always been such a light and dark person, good and bad in various ways. And I like it when I can see where things can go. It's like, this is what I'm giving, but everything just seems to stay right here, and it's so irritating. Like, just give us a raw, gritty, good AAA game that's just like, ooh. Something that makes you talk about it, and that really, like, the most you can say about this game is, oh, it's cool, oh, I played that. Yeah, it was okay. Just another mediocre horror game. It's not bad, it's alright. They focus so much on, like, the psychological side of stuff and the mental stuff, and, like, this kind of really nitpicky, specific, micro-focused way, and they don't really look at the big picture. They have the big picture, but they just minimize it to its smallest amount. It's like, hey, this is a team, this is a studio that's given these things to work with, and this is what they do, and these are the decisions they make, knowing that it can be so much more. But to be fair, that's how I am with a lot of things, but that's not totally fair, because it's like, some things do actually do that exact thing. I don't know, maybe I just live in a weird time where I don't see things the way that they should be, or the way things can be, or because I guess, to be fair, we live in a middle ground of like, well, this isn't the future, where who knows, but this isn't really the past either, where there is a lot less rules and leniencies and guidelines, and like the most raw stuff you'll ever find is things from 20 plus years ago. I don't know, whatever. Cutscenes are cool.
Thanks for pulling over.
Sure. Something wrong?
We got a problem up ahead. A big accident. We've had to close the road.
You're right.
We're diverting all traffic through Little Hope.
Yeah, on the upside, it's like, I realize, hey, this is one game, it's one series, it's one studio, it's one franchise, it's one brand, whatever. This is what they chose to do with what they were given. Fine. If you want better stuff, dude, you'll have to go somewhere else, man. But that's what it always seems to come down to, is like, oh, now I gotta go somewhere else. This wasn't enough for me, or I don't know what I'm always expecting to see or experience, or like, I don't know. You know, but ghosts and witches, and here's the deal. From an outside perspective of just the fact that it's a simple video game, this is a way to express our inner feelings and thoughts and choices and decisions, which this particular game series is very much about. Streaming videos, games, this is an outlet that I have, a platform. But here's the deal, is that these are all subjects that, you know, I realize this is a virtual simulated world game. But these are things you want to experience in real life. Call me crazy. I want to see actual witchcraft and legitimate real stuff, not videos. I want to see it in person, not something that could be possibly faked or staged, or I want to see evidence. I believe in this stuff, all of it. But I think it's either like this stuff is so stuck in the past, you literally can't. This game's trying to focus on stuff that's not relevant today at all. Well, it could be. They did that with Man Medan too. What was a lot of it about? World War I, II, whatever. It's like, man, maybe I just need something a little more grounded, something that's a little more today or modern. I don't know. Some kind of subject around that. This game's like a weird mix of like, it's still newish, looks good, visuals, blah blah blah. But they focus on like stuff over here, and I'd love to see their like process of making the game, or just the discussions they had, or the decisions they chose to make, or the papers and the plans and behind the scenes. And I know there's stuff like that out there, but you know, it's like let's say things could have been completely different, and they could have done this, but just times 10, over 9,000. What did they not do? They didn't do that. Why? God. It's something so stupid, but like, I can't help that. That's just where my mind goes. That's where I go. That's where my head starts going. It's not necessary by any means, but that's the thing, is I can look at it like, hey, this is what it could have been. This is what it is. I get it. And this isn't even being like, oh, I'm mad about every little thing, like, oh, the mobility and this and that. I've already covered all that. This is like beyond that now, because like, You're gonna give me a very accessible, affordable, budget-friendly. That's not even the point, but you know, AAA quality game that's based on witches and witchcraft and all these things. Something that's a very big subject to me, personally, in my own way. Ah. And I just get this like half-ass. Dude, if it wasn't for the terrible jump scares, I wouldn't even call it PG-13, man. Just may as well just go PG at this point. Where's the blood? Where's the few bits of good pieces they give you? It's so far and few in between. Like, make this like a rated M. Fuck it. Make it a adult rated game for all I care. I realize I'm asking too much. I want this to be some kind of like banned internet game. But I'm not even trying to like go there. I'm trying to just be like, hey man, give me whatever this is, but just amp up the fucking power level. You know, people think of like, you know, the deep internet and the dark web and Human Centipede and very underground, niche, hidden gem, cult classic. Things that really spark a conversation. I would love to be talking about those things right now, hands down. Like, oh dude, this game was just gnarly and gory and like bloody and nasty, and it was just so like, you know, it's like a movie and a game, and I was like horrified and scared and grossed out, and I guess that's just what I want in these games. But it's funny because anybody else can say, well, everything it does do, it tailors to them very well. Because maybe they're individuals who like to just be kind of in the middle of this very neutral ether of a life and space and time, and they just don't really care what they play, but they do. It's relatable in some way or another, but it's not as much as it could be, blah blah blah. For most people, it's probably gonna be fine. For me, it's like, dude, do I really care at the end of the day? No. But yeah, that's just how I see the game. It's like one of those things that someone that used to watch a lot of YouTube videos and just really go down all these really dark rabbit holes, and you know, I don't currently do any of that at this time, but I did. That's what a lot of my life has kind of been surrounded around, and I realize it's not something for everybody, and it's a touchy subject, all these things, whatever. Like, that should be separated from the games that I play. I won't argue that in a way, but at the same time, it's like, man, I like this though, because that's my point, is it's not a it's not a stupid video out there that's grainy and like, it's not something I can see in front of me. Well, in a way, it's something that can like give you that fix and that scratch that itch and that craving. It's like everything I like and where I know it can go, give me like a little bit of everything of that. Give me a little nice sample platter. I want to be able to go here and here and here and find exactly what I want and what I'm looking for, and I don't think that's that hard to do. You either just run into it, you go out of your way to look for it, whatever, do your research, spend the time. But here's a game where it's like, oh, okay, you know, this is somewhere where I can get that sort of value out of. It's just not a thing. The gameplay was fine. Either way, it was a good game. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was enjoyable. It had a familiar actor. The only movie I can literally remember seeing him in is I don't even. It was about like it's a family vacation movie. The one where it's got that funny guy and Jennifer Aniston. I keep forgetting it because I keep getting it mixed up with this other vacation movie with this other comedy. Jennifer Aniston's like a stripper and the guy's like a drug dealer. I don't even know. Emma Roberts, and they're like his pretend kids, and he was singing like some stupid song. He's been in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't even remember the guy's name, to be honest. But he just got such that familiar face that like you feel like you've seen everywhere, but you haven't. Because he's just got one of those faces. Kind of like, what is his name? Miles Teller? So, I don't know. Like this other dude that's kind of in a similar genre. Very universal actor type thing because he's not really... He doesn't really fit in just one kind of category. I don't know. Which is another reason why he was good for this, because that's exactly the point. He's throw him in there, man. It works out. Yeah, it was historical. It was dark, obviously. Familiar faces, some new faces. The graphics do get better. The gameplay gets better. You can barely even call it that, to be fair. It's definitely a step up from Animadam, but only in the ways that, like, obviously it's newer because it came out later, and it does look slightly better and plays a little better. But I definitely don't think it was as strong as Man of Medan, and not just because of its originality, but I'm just looking at it for exactly what it is. So it might be a disappointment in that way, which is a shame because sequels can either be really good or really bad. Well, it can either be good or bad. I don't know if I'd exaggerate it too much, but I like sequels for the most part. Some people don't. They're all about, oh, the first movie, the first game, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, come on, man. You gotta be a little bit appreciative of stuff that we keep continuing to get. But that's the most shit I can give this game, is like, I know it could be better. That doesn't mean I don't like it. I just know that it really holds itself back, and you know, that may not be an issue for most people, but because I think for a lot of individuals it might give them exactly what it is that they're looking for. They know this game for a reason. They know of it. They're playing it for a reason. They downloaded it. It speaks a lot about who they are, what they represent, their message, their personality, everything they've been through, whatever. But for me, it's like, I'm kind of in that same boat, but I'm thinking a little bit bigger. Like, I'm not just rowing my way in a little rowboat my whole life, man. Like, I want to be in that Titanic. Speaking of Man of Medan. I mean, the most you can do is be like, especially after the game, like, you know, you give that little short 5-minute review, like, oh, it was cool, blah, blah, this and that. It was alright. Yeah, very average. Like honestly, because of its is averagetivity a thing? Is that a word? I wouldn't really give it a 5, but I'd give it a 5. Normally I'd be like, hey, let's make it like a 7, 8. But because of the way that I perceive this game in my own way, you couldn't be more at like a 5 range because it's so... And I wasn't really able to complain about this with Man of Medan because it's like, that's not really fair. It's the first entry. They tried, but they were successful enough in what it is that they did that they kept rolling with it. Here we are, the second game. It's the first game, but just with a different skin. And I don't know, at some point it just becomes a package thing. It's not even the fact that, like, this isn't a continuous circle or sequel, it's a whole different thing. That's the difference between sequels and... It's the second entry in the thing, but it's not a continuation of whatever happened before, like, at all. Other than the fact that they might bring back some characters here and there or something, okay. But the mechanics are the same, the gameplay, everything. Which is fair, because when people get this game, they expect certain things. They expect it to be a lot like the first game, at least, in certain ways. But, yeah, speaking of Salem, the show that I mentioned earlier, that's about a fair comparison to this, because it was very held back. It was very few moments of actual, like, I come here for the good shit, man. Lords of Salem, they went hard. They didn't hold back. They went all in. That movie was very disturbing. The imagery, That's why I love Rob Zombie movies, because everything that guy does, he does them 100%, 110%. This game, it's running at like 50%. I don't understand. But yes, on another... But I get that, like, you know, hey, these guys have a vision. You know, they just want to put out good quality, equal, fair games for everybody that anybody can enjoy. This is what you get. It'll be a good playthrough. It'll be a good night, good day, whatever. You know, it's one of those get your popcorn out kind of movies, especially if you're watching somebody play it. It's, you know, it really is nice to just kind of chill and relax and sit there and watch and listen, and you can't really go wrong. You can't really complain, but you can't give it as much praise as one might want to either, because for all these reasons. But yeah, it was okay. I don't know. I mean, I just look at it as another game. But I have to iterate the fact that I know that it could have been so much more too, because... And I realized this game wasn't personally made for me. It wasn't... Oh, here you go. This is just for you. This whole game, just for you. I get that. It's still good enough for me to play it and to buy it and purchase it and download it and have it take up space and whatever. But it's lucky though, because it got me as a customer because of the subjects that it's related to. And I like those things so much to a point that I'll play it, but that doesn't always mean I have to like it either. And I'm not really sure what the fan base is on these games or the community, but yeah, who knows? I can almost guarantee though that I think a lot of its consumers and its customers ultimately will probably consider it about in a very similar way. Of that it's just kind of this game that they might have liked but didn't know why, or it's so much a part of them that they don't really look at the specifics and it's just like, yeah, good game. But I have to be I like to kind of be a little bit harder on those type of things, but yeah. Oh my god, I almost called this Man of Medan. Felt a lot like Man of Medan in a way. It's very dark, like you couldn't see shit half the damn time. Yeah, it was like watching a pretty good average movie. Scary movie. Yeah, Little Hope.